We started about 8 years ago with our raw milk farm, but actually it started way back when Todd was about 8 years old, and his father decided to teach him how to milk cows, and he started milking the family cow at 8 years old. And his dad told him, I'm going to show you how to build houses. So that was his background, and his father just poured so much love into him, and he was just an amazing man. And so where do we go from there?
Well, let me see. Probably in 2010, we had an epiphany. We had a big cabinet shop. We had about 10,000 square feet of cabinet shop, a dozen employees, really busy. 08 had hit, so we were looking at the board, seeing kitchens dwindle from 50 to 40 to 30 to 20, and then we're waiting for jobs to come through the board, and so we decided to fold it up and take a sabbatical. Our kids were gone, and we have 4 kids, and our youngest now is 33, and we have 3 grandkids, and so we decided to take a sabbatical. Sherry had contacted somebody from Missouri who wanted somebody to help him run his farm. So we said, let's go do it. We sold the business and kind of sold everything we had, packed everything up on a Beverly Hillbillies type, we're taking off across the country, and so anyway, we landed there, ended up working 25 acres with this guy, and after about, a month or so, a month and a half, we had a record rain. And it took 25 acres of work to put it down on the road. Wow. It was 5.5 inches in 3 hours, something like that. It was a record. They never had that much rain. So we were left with, well, what are we here for? And we were praying about that, and we'd met some Amish folks and who became very close to us, and they called and they said, why don't you move out to our son? Their son was not married yet, but he owned a house across the street. And so, why don't you move into Paul's house? So we moved into an Amish house, and we had it really uptown. We had a 2-holer outhouse, and didn't have to carry our water too far.
No electricity.
No electricity, and it was absolutely marvelous. It really was. I'm not joking about that. It was one of the best times of our lives. And so anyway.
For a year.
Yeah, we lived there for a year. It got us very centered. There was enough time to just kind of figure out what it was that we were going to do. What are we about? And we felt like we needed to. Our direction was we were supposed to start this farm, and it made sense to us, and to start milking cows. And so when we left Missouri and came home, we started heading towards dairying, and we started with 1 cow, and it quickly grew to, we're milking, I think we've got 14 or 15 right now, and it went from 1 acre to 45 acres that we're running on, and so it's been a real blessing, a real challenge. It's hard, we're not spring chickens anymore, but God's given us the energy and wherewithal to stick with it and work hard. And so,
can I interject something?
Sure.
So back when we were building in the Bay Area, we had a cabinet shop, and Todd had an epiphany. He thought, my dad has poured so much into me. I have so much knowledge on how to build houses from the ground up. So many things, and he thought, if I died today, all that would have been gone, and there's nobody to pass it down to. And then we thought about our society, and we thought about how this is such a fatherless society, and we really need men to be men. And that's when the epiphany happened to Todd, and he thought, we really need help from guys that haven't had fathers, and I could pour all of my love and information into them to help them get going. So here we are back at our farm, and it was just Todd and I, and we needed help. And it was just an organic kind of thing that happened, where there was this guy that we met who had been in prison, and he had a lot of people that he knew from prison. and he said, I know there's this guy coming out of prison that would love to join your farm. And we thought, you know, if we could help these guys, they could help us. We could help them get on their feet and get back into society without having to go back into jail. And that's really powerful. So we started with one guy, another guy. We've had quite a few guys coming, living on our farm, and they've been helping us to you know, we wouldn't be here without their help.
Right.
And it's just absolutely amazing.
And most of them have now become family, like really close.
Yes.
Very close family. They, for them, you know, the lives that most of these guys have lived would tear you up. They've lived very rough lives, and it's like taking them back to childhood, and now they get to grow up again, and they get to grow up where, you know, we may have had families where we had a safety net.
Yep.
We had parents that loved us. Many of those didn't. They had no safety net. They were either in that awful home or they were on the street. And so, and don't get me wrong, not everybody is ready for that. And most are not ready for that. Most guys coming out of prison are looking to what's the next scam that I'm going to pull. But there's some that are ready and they want it, but they don't know where to go. And those are the guys that we're trying to catch, and we're trying to help them
transition.
And we feel like that's our ministry. That's what we're doing to give back. And a farm setting is incredible because they learn, boy, if you have to have patience, it's with the cow. They move at one speed, and you get a rhythm. You're working with these animals, you get a rhythm, and you learn husbandry, you learn life. Now, we had one guy named Noah, and there was a little goat born. The goat was...
we call him Junior.
Yeah, Junior. The goat was a quadriplegic. And Noah took this goat that was in the mud, couldn't even lift his head, but was breathing, and cleaned him up, and he nursed him back to life, and got his limbs moving. His back limbs would never move, but Noah got him where he could sit up, where he could drink, and took him. Now he still has stiff back legs, but when he was little, he would put his rear end in the air and walk around on his front legs and follow you like a puppy, and we keep him because he's a testament to what love will do.
He's our little mascot.
And but what it did for Noah was for Noah to realize what he can give. And you know, there's the selfish human element that we all have to deal with, and when these kinds of things happen, it gives another little snapshot into somebody's life to where they can get healed. So that's what we're about. That's why we're here.
Wonderful.
Putting in 12, 15, 18 hours, sometimes more, is pretty common on the farm, but it's very rewarding as well. It's very rewarding, and it's very rewarding to do what you know you're called to do. I think there's a lot of energy used up doing things we're not sure we should be doing. So
I wanted to add one more thing. We lived on a road called Bannister Road, and when we first started, and then when we moved and decided, well, should we keep our name? Should we call it Bannister Road still? Todd looked up the word banister, and it means a helping hand. and we decided to keep it because that really represents who we are. And so not only we decided to call it Bannister Oak Farms is because we want to do this. This is just one farm we're starting. We really want to start more farms up the I-5 corridor to Washington, Oregon, and that's our heart, to do this not just once but many times, so that we can have farms and that people can enjoy the beautiful proceeds that come from it. So.
Right. So we're running on about 45 acres, and we're in gold country, but our well produces about 300 gallons a minute, which is a lot of water, so we're in the process of getting piping to all parts of the property so that we can irrigate all of it. We kind of had to hit the ground running with, like out on the prairie, there's nothing and you better, what are you going to do? So anyway, we've been working on the farm, building this, that, and the other thing, and milking at the same time. The farm must go on. We have an underground house on the farm. I think I told some of you about the underground house. That is some friends of ours. We bought the property from friends of ours. And they built this underground house that's incredible. It's covered by 6 feet of soil, and it can be 110 degrees outside. You walk in, wow. 68.
Wow.
It's wonderful. So we have a plan to develop the rest of the property with Hobbit-style little cabins that would be thermal and just cute and fun, and have farm stays, and people can come out and experience what it's like to be on the farm. We have, I don't know how many chickens we have, probably 500-ish, and it's hard to say when they're all running around, So milk, of course, all of our products are raw. We feel like we were led to ice all of our products immediately after milking, and that model has proved out over the 8 years that we've been doing this. We produce a lot of ice every day. We have ice machines that run constantly, probably 1,000 pounds a day worth of ice. And so the milk will come in, takes 2 people to milk. We have 1 person in for processing and bottling. It goes into the bottle and it immediately goes into a cooler, and then we ice it. And so it stays, that milk will stay, the faster you can get it cold, the longer it will last. That milk will regularly stay. I've popped bottles that are 3 weeks old, and it's like, okay, I can tell it's getting a little old, but it's still good. It's not sour. And our bacteria counts are 0 to 1, which means, to give you a comparison, milk in the store would come back at 30.
Is that pasteurized?
50.
Milk in the store, do you mean pasteurized or not pasteurized?
Any milk on the store shelf would come back at about 30, a bacteria count of 30,000, and we often have our testing agency sends it back, it says less than 0.
Wow.
So, which means it's somewhere between 0 and 999.
We test our milk, in other words. We send
Yeah.
it out on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
We also have, we also milk our cows just once a day instead of twice a day like most everybody else. And we decided we wanted to have a life, and so instead of doing it twice a day, we do it once. And the nice thing about it is that the grain that we use, we have no corn and no soy. That's very important to us, to our animals, because it transfers to us as well. So the nutrition, and so we also procure our grain. So we don't just get it from the general feed store down the street. We don't trust that. We have farmers that we know personally that we get our grain from, and we bring it. So for instance, instead of the soy being the protein, we use peas, and that's a really wonderful source of protein. But we can't get them, the peas, here in California. We have to go up to Oregon. So we get a truck that goes up there, picks it up. So we bring all of our grain to a Mennonite elevator that grinds our grain for us. We bring it back to our farm. It's about 1,000-pound totes, because we have so many animals that we feed. We have to do it in such a large way like that. But it's really important that we know all of our farmers. So-
Right. Our hay, alfalfa, any of our hay, is non-GMO. As you know, alfalfa now is about split down the middle for genetically modified and non-GMO. And you see you can tell what camp the farmers are in, because there's farmers, oh man, I go the GMO route. It's just so easy. Well, yeah, it is easy. You don't have to figure your timing on your cuttings and your waterings, and it's just easy for you, but you're giving us something that we don't want to eat. We don't want our cows eating it. We don't want to eat it in secondhand. So we feed big bales. Our bales are 1,500 pounds each, and we have a machine that will pick those up. And so fortunately, we have a Mennonite farmer who is in our camp, and all of their hay is not sprayed ever. Their ground is never sprayed. They use timing and seasons to control their weeds, when they water, etc. So we buy from them, and it's worked out very well. So our goats, we are milking, I think about 25 goats right now, and so we have goat milk, and our goat milk is, I don't know if anybody of you have ever had goat milk out of the store, but it's like licking the barn floor. Fresh goat milk, you cannot taste any goatiness to it. You shouldn't. If you do, there's a number of things happening. Either there is goat hair that got in the milk, or there was a buck around. Bucks are the stinkiest things, most nasty things ever.
They are.
Or if you pasteurize goat milk, it also begins to be very acidic. But our goat milk is very smooth, and if you don't know it's goat milk, you just drink it and go, wow, that milk is good. And so we have goat milk. We have little kids running around all over the place, and we have Jersey cows. Jersey cows give about 6% butter fat. A Holstein, the black and white ones, they'll give about 3.5%. So Jersey cows give about twice the cream, and it's yellow. It will get more yellow or less yellow depending on the time of year, how much grass they're getting, what condition the grass is in, etc. But generally speaking, it's going to be very yellow, and it's going to be a lot of it. Here we're acting like a PMA, a private membership association. So we're not selling to the public. We are family. If you get milk from us, you're not buying milk. You are part of our herd share. You actually own pieces of those cows, and you are hiring us to take care of your cows for you.
That's right.
And deliver your milk to you.
We're the caretakers of your animals.
Amazing.
We're so ingrained. It's so ingrained in us to go to the mall, buy your stuff, go to the store, buy your stuff. Whatever happened to knowing your farmer, networking with your farmer, knowing the people that grow all of your food, all your produce, milking your milk? What about other goods and services? We don't have a culture of trading with each other. You have to be face to face to trade, right? You have to be face to face to know your farmer.